My name is Momodou Malcolm Jallow, and I'm a member of the Swedish Parliament and the Council of Europe. I was asked recently by my mentor, Reverend Jesse Jackson, to share a few thoughts with you on the COVID-19 pandemic and the concerns regarding the disproportionate impact it is having on people of color um, when it comes to their livelihoods or loss of livelihoods, when it comes to eviction, when it comes to unemployment, access to health, etc. In Sweden in particular, but as well as the rest of Europe. As of the 18th of May 2020, the total number infected in Sweden was 30,377, and the number of people that were admitted in intensive care was about 1,853, and the total number of deaths was about 3,698 people. Unlike the US, Sweden, unfortunately for people of color, do not collect data disaggregated by race, which makes it difficult to systematically account for the number of Black people or other people of color that have fallen victims of this pandemic. However, in my role as a General Rapporteur against racism and intolerance for the Council of Europe Parliamentary Assembly, I am deeply concerned by the information and signal coming from ethnic and racial minorities, not only in Sweden but around Europe. This pandemic-induced health crisis has rapidly ignited an economic crisis with unprecedented consequences for poor and working-class people. In Sweden and in many other European countries, people of African descent, other people of color, and the poor and working class suffer disproportionately from underlying and pre-existing health issues proven to have made us more vulnerable to COVID-19 virus. As you may have read in the global media, Sweden has taken a different approach in fighting COVID-19 than most of the other European countries. And this has been a subject of global discussion. Instead of tight lockdowns, the Swedish government and health officials have encouraged citizens to use common sense. We work from home if possible and not gather in crowds over 50. Primary schools are open, as are bars and restaurants, but high schools are closed as they are old enough to carry on their studies from home without requiring their parents, who might be frontliners, to stay at home with them. Whether this system is successful or not is not known yet. It's yet to be known, but hopefully we'll see in the future. However, one thing that is very clear is that COVID-19 crisis is exposing fundamental flaws in our socioeconomic structures, not least the increasing precarity and weakening of workers' rights, the long-standing socioeconomic inequalities and generations of systemic disinvestment in Black people. The best way to address COVID-19 pandemic and its effect on society is to build inclusive societies with a level playing field and sustainable economies that works for everyone and not only the billionaire class. A society that aspires to translate its pain and suffering into change on a large scale so that recovery from this crisis will be based on equality, human rights, social justice, sustainability, and the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health. For if there is anything we have learned so far from this crisis, is that it clearly shows us that policies based on austerity, privatization, and deregulation have had extremely negative impact on health systems in Europe, thereby causing severe problems in guaranteeing universal access to health care as a fundamental right. So, what must we do? Yeah, we must take this chance to build a sustainable society that is rooted in our ability to recognize the potential of each and every individual. We must build sustainable economies that encourages value creation instead of value extraction. And we must encourage leadership that prioritizes the interests of the masses of the people rather than the billionaire class. And protect the most vulnerable, because that is the only way we as a people will have a chance to withstand future crises. Thank you so much.